37. Anastasia. I have the overwhelming urge to tell him I love him every time he looks at me, and I don't know how to make it stop. I'm scared it's going to come out by accident, and that somehow I'll burst this bubble we're happily floating around in. I'm sure every new relationship starts with you thinking your partner is perfect, but mine is. He's attentive and affectionate. He makes me feel valued, and he strives to make me happy. Not in a materialistic or frivolous way, but in a way where he actively works beside me, hand in hand, to try to make my life better. I don't imagine there are many men, college men at that look at the ugliest parts of you and want you anyway. The irony is, if I were to say this to him, he'd tell me I didn't have ugly bits. But I do. And I feel like they've been on display for weeks, constantly thrown in my face as a way to bring me down. Being here with Nathan, miles away from everyone, I feel like I can finally breathe, knowing I'm not going to get blindsided. Part of me wishes we didn't have to go back to LA at all, but somehow I think the bubble will probably pop as soon as Nate's dad, my new arch nemesis, gets home. I can't imagine growing up somewhere like this. Staring at the sprawling estate through the kitchen window with Nate took my breath away. It's all covered in snow, but even so, you can tell how big it is. As stunning as it is, everything feels so vacant, and I'd give anything for a baby Nathan picture. Anything. The ski resort has been in his paternal family for generations, passed from father to son. Nate prefers Nate or Nathan, but his full name is Nathaniel, named after the great-time-something grandfather who founded the resort. Nate has no interest in taking over. He hates that it would go to him because he's a man, arguing why would he want a ski resort when his sister is a skiing prodigy. He grumbled something about fucking the patriarchy and went back to whatever he was doing at the time. The resort is only 15 minutes from here, and I can see the tips of the buildings from Nate's bedroom. Nathan said I'm not allowed to ski while I'm here since I've never done it before. He doesn't want me to risk hurting myself when I, hopefully, have a competition next month. He said we can come back in the future and he'll take me on the bunny slopes with the little kids. It felt good hearing him make plans for the future, and I could pretend I don't know why, but denial is useless at this point. Everything he says makes me melt, and half the time I don't know how to react, so I kiss him. Then things escalate, and before I know it, I'm screaming his name and seeing stars. Nathan's dick deserves an honorable mention in the list of his positive attributes. His mouth, too, and his fingers. Have I mentioned his body yet? And his face. God, I should probably tell him all this, and then say, I love you, and find one of the million rooms in this ginormous house to hide in. I could hide for at least 2 days before he finds me.
How willing are you to get dressed?
I don't answer him straight away, pretending I'm thinking about it, and that I don't know the answer is not willing at all. It's not the getting dressed bit, it's knowing I have to get undressed later.
If I promise to undress you later, will you put your clothes on and come somewhere with me?
I link my pinky with his. Only because you promised. Getting dressed is a lot easier than getting undressed, and within 10 minutes, Nate is dragging me toward his backyard, skates in hand.
I can't believe this is the first time you've done this.
When Nathan said we could skate on the frozen lake in his backyard, I assumed he was exaggerating a little, and I'd be skating on a little pond. But I should probably never underestimate him, because this is not a little pond. I can't work out where it ends, since it branches off into what looks like smaller streams through the trees. Nate taps on his phone until Claire de Lune begins to play, and he gives me a smile that makes me dissolve a little.
Dance with me?
We practice my routine until my body is sore and I can't see anything but my breath in front of me. There is something different and refreshing about being outdoors while doing it, but something is missing. I rack my brain, trying to put my finger on what it is, Then I realize, Brady, nobody is shouting at us.
Wait here,
he says, skating off toward the house again. Reappearing a minute later, he's holding 2 hockey sticks and a tiny net.
Let's put all that rage you have to good use, Alan.
Finding out I'm terrible at hockey was not what I wanted this holiday season, especially given my company. I'm not used to being bad at anything, especially on ice.
Stop pouting,
he teases, burying his head into my neck, his warm mouth a contrast to the bitter wind. I don't stop pouting, not even when he lets me score against him twice.
You are such a sore loser, Stas.
You're literally a Division I hockey player, and you're fucking huge. You take up the whole goal, I shout over the sound of his laughter. He skates out to me and plants his front to my back, reaching around me to grip my hands on the stick, cheek flush against mine.
Practice makes perfect, Anastasia,
he whispers, hitting the puck straight into the back of the net. Okay, that was hot.
Let's go inside. It'll be dark soon, and I can sense that you're getting hangry.
He pecks a kiss against my temple and takes the stick out of my hand. I'm beginning to think you know me really well, Hawkins. I sigh, spinning to wrap my arms around his waist. I think I'll stick to figure skating. His cheeks are flushed with the cold, the tip of his nose bright red, eyes glossy. I love seeing him at his childhood home, smiling, teaching me something he loves. He reaches down to kiss the top of my woolly hat-covered head.
Of course I know you really well, Anastasia. You're my favorite subject.
Nate insisted on cooking dinner, which gave me nothing to do other than sit in front of the fire in my snowman onesie, drinking a fancy wine from the wine cellar. By the time dinner is over and we're sitting on the couch in front of Home Alone 2, I'm a little bit tipsy. Tipsy is fine. Tipsy is fun. Tipsy means that my camera roll is full of candid pictures of Nathan strutting around in his reindeer onesie, and I can't stop giggling. When I reach drunk, that's when we're going to have a problem, because I'm feeling exceptionally mushy, and there is a real risk that drunk Stassi is going to confess all her feelings. The irony that I encourage people to communicate and share, but I can't tell my own boyfriend I love him, isn't lost on me. Nathan brings his beer to his lips, tilting the bottle up slightly, and I watch him like a creep. He must feel my eyes on him because he looks over, eyebrow raised slightly, then goes back to watching the movie. His hair is a little long right now, and he's got the start of little brown ringlets at the nape of his neck. It's so cute.
Why are you staring at me?
He grumbles, tugging me closer. The proximity to him is more intoxicating than the wine. He smells great. Exceptionally and overwhelmingly great.
Anastasia?
I sigh and take a glug of my wine, prolonging the silence. How do I say what's in my head without sounding obsessed? I'm a bit obsessed, but I can't let him know that. You're just really fucking pretty, Nathan. It's super hard to concentrate sometimes. Do you know that? Do you understand how difficult it is sometimes to focus on literally anything when you're around me looking effortlessly beautiful? His eyes widen at my confession and his cheeks blush a little. Oh my God. I think I've embarrassed him. I should probably feel more embarrassed than I do, but watching the blood rush to his cheeks and him avoiding eye contact, scratching nervously at his jaw, is too good. He mumbles, threading his fingers through the hand not clinging to my wineglass, bringing the back of it to his lips.
Right back at you, Alan.
The movie finishes and he changes the channel to sports highlights, stretching out on the couch until he's horizontal, holding out his arm for me to curl up beside him. Butterflies flutter around in my stomach as I look down at him, so relaxed and settled. This feels like a sneak peek at my future, cuddling in front of a hockey game, drinking wine in a house surrounded by snow. Would you ever want to move back to Colorado?
Christ, no.
Why do you hate your dad so much? God, I'm unstoppable this evening. What is wrong with me? I'm sorry. You don't have to answer that. I know you've told me some stuff. It just feels like there's more to it. His arm reaches out and tucks a strand of my hair behind my ear, pausing to cup my cheek.
You can ask me anything, Stas. I'm not sure hate is the right word,
he explains.
My mom was sick for a long time before she died, and he hired all these private nurses to look after her, so she was very comfortable, but he hardly saw her. He buried himself in work. Betty made dinner, and he'd show up to eat, then disappear again. He saw Sasha on the slopes, but other than that, it was like he was a ghost.
I put my hand over his and give it a squeeze. I already know that Nathan's mom, Mila, died of a rare blood disorder when he was in 8th grade.
Long story short, he was cheating on his dying wife with a 25-year-old ski instructor from the resort.
I feel sick as I absorb his words, my heart instantly breaking for teenage Nate.
I suspect it had been going on long before she got sick. Then a few years later, when Robbie had his accident, it was at the resort. His medical bills were astronomical, and the Hamlets are wealthy with good insurance, but Dad wouldn't help, even though that's what the company insurance is for.
I already knew that Robbie was injured in a skiing accident, but it never occurred to me that it might be here. How do you even navigate that as a teenager?
He was convinced they were going to sue and bankrupt him. He was acting so strange. He buried his head in the sand over it for weeks until Mr. H had no choice but to get a lawyer involved, which he'd never wanted to do. The Hamlets loved my mom, and they've always treated me like a son.
That's so awful, I whisper, squeezing his hand even tighter.
I won't forgive him for those things. I think he feels guilty now, all these years later. I think I've already told you Dad owns our house in Maple Hills. He bought it at the end of freshman year. He paid for our garage to be converted into a room for Robbie, wheelchair-accessible bathroom, and all the shit he needs. It was strange. We'd been struggling to find somewhere suitable to live, and suddenly I got a phone call to say he'd bought a house on Maple Avenue, and it'd be renovated in time for sophomore year.
I'm sorry, Nathan. That's a lot. He gives me my favorite smile and pulls me to his warm body, tightening his arms around me and kissing my forehead.
It's okay. There are people that have it far worse than me. I'm not ignorant enough to think I'm not completely privileged, and it's the definition of first world problems. But he's taught me everything not to do as a dad, so our kids will be fine. Wait, that didn't come out right. Oh, God.
Now it's my turn to blush. He's stilled beneath me, and neither of us is saying anything. What the fuck do you say to that exactly? Wine-drunk Stassi is not the person for this conversation because for some reason, what's in my head is not what comes out of my mouth. I want to adopt. He clings to me a bit tighter.
Sounds good to me.
I always wanted to anyway, but pushing out your big-ass baby would absolutely wreck my vagina. Like, totally destroy it.
Noted.
I'm still half asleep when I roll over and reach toward Nathan's side of the bed, finding a piece of paper instead of him. Running a top-secret errand, but I won't be long. Enjoy snooping. N. P.S. I made you a smoothie. It's in the fridge. I have so many options of things to do, I don't know what to do first. Starting with the smoothie, I stand in my new favorite spot, looking out at the back of the house. It looks like something out of a Christmas card. It's that beautiful. It doesn't feel like real life. It takes me all of 10 seconds to realize what I want to do. Rushing to find my skates and jacket, I head out of the door toward my new favorite rink. I'm not even dancing. I'm just enjoying the view, which is when I spot a deer watching me from the woods in the distance. Living in LA for the past few years has sucked after being spoiled by living in Washington my whole life. The closest thing to wildlife in Maple Hills is Frat Row. It walks across the frozen ground, running between the trees, so I skate a little closer. I forgot to ask Nathan where this part of the lake leads to, but it's straight out of a movie the way the trees are overhanging with tiny frozen drops hanging from each branch. The deer is still watching me from the trees as I get to the edge of the woods, but then my phone rings and it races off. I pull off my glove and bring the phone to my ear, unimpressed. "Hello?"
"Hey, where are you?"
Nate asks.
"I just got back and I can't find you."
"I'm trying to make friends with a deer, but your call scared it off," I grumble, scanning the trees.
"A deer? Where are you?"
"Skating by the edge of the woods. I was going to have a Snow White moment and everything."
"Anastasia, it isn't safe."
But I don't hear the rest of what he has to say, because the ice cracks beneath my feet, and the water paralyzes my entire body the second my head goes under.
38. Nathan. I never wanted to be the man fighting his way through a store on Christmas Eve, but here I am. I'm surrounded by panicked-looking men, frantically pointing at every surface, clearly buying things they were supposed to buy weeks ago. I'd ordered Stassi's main present to be delivered to the house, so I didn't have to try to travel with it, but the delivery driver arrived when Sasha wasn't in, and Dad rejected the delivery, saying it was a mistake. So it's been 2 weeks of arguing with various companies, but they finally emailed last night to say I could pick it up in the store, meaning I reluctantly dragged myself here. I know she's going to lose her shit about how much iPads cost, but I have thought this through. And she can't be mad if I've thought it through, right? She does therapy through video calls since her doctor is in Washington, but because she doesn't have her own, she has to borrow Lola's. I can't always let her borrow mine because I use it to take notes in class, and it's got my entire schedule built into it. That brings me to the second bonus, a digital planner. I already know that her planner evolved from a sticker chart, but I feel like it's time for it to evolve again. I'm convinced that if she can easily move around her plans, like she'd be able to with an iPad, she'll be more inclined to be flexible with herself. It's some psychology shit, I know, but once she stops stressing about it and uses it, it'll be a gift she can benefit from. I understand her worry. Our disposable income is not the same. They're not even close. She once said she couldn't skip work because we don't all have trust funds, and she's right. I'm not expecting her to buy me something expensive, though. I'm not expecting her to buy me anything because her being here is more than enough. She sobbed at the idea of me being alone on Christmas. I have a girlfriend that cries over my hypothetical unhappiness. How is this real life? She must care about me a lot, or that's what I've convinced myself anyway, so I'm going to tell her I'm in love with her tomorrow. Christmas feels like the right time to be expressing feelings, right? Right? The drive back to the house takes far too long for my liking. There isn't any traffic. I'm just impatient and itching to get back to my girl. I wonder how much of the house she's snooped through while I've been gone. I'm fully expecting her to be in the living room with a collection of things she wants an explanation for when I get back. I know she's desperate to see some baby pictures, or at least some evidence that I was once a child, since there aren't any pictures of me in the house. Luckily, she's nowhere to be found when I finally walk through the door, which gives me the chance to stash the bag under my bed, ready to be wrapped later. I plod through the rest of the house, listening out for her, but each place I check, she's not there. Eventually, having lost all patience, I pull out my phone and click her name. "Hello," she huffs. "Hey, where are you?" I ask, trying to listen for a response over the sound of wind on her side of the phone. "I just got back and I can't find you." "I'm trying to make friends with a deer, but your call scared it off," she grumbles quietly. "A deer? Where are you?" "Skating by the edge of the woods," she says, making my heart sink to my stomach. "I was going to have a Snow White moment and everything." I feel sick as I start rushing to the back of the house, heading toward the lake as quickly as my body will take me. "Anastasia, it isn't safe. Carefully move away from there." But I don't think she hears me, because the phone goes dead, and in the distance I hear a blood-curdling scream. They say that when something traumatic happens, time stands still, but I don't agree. I can feel every single second fly by me as my boots crunch into the snow. Every thought in my head seems to be occurring at the exact same time, and I can't concentrate through the chaos. She's strong. She's so fucking strong, and she can swim. I've seen her swim with my own eyes. The luminous orange life ring catches my eye as I approach the lake. Mom made Dad install it when Sasha started walking. She was terrified that having this much water so close by was an accident waiting to happen. I tug it off its stand and carry on toward the woods. I couldn't even say how long it's been since I heard her scream. The life ring is bouncing off my hip, and I'm sprinting faster than I ever have before, my breath in front of me, clouding my view. But then I see it, a big gaping hole in the ice, fractured pieces floating around on the water. Every safety video, article, or presentation, anyone with a bit of common sense will tell you that you don't run on thin or uncertain ice. But I'm not uncertain. I know this water better than anyone, which is how I knew she was in danger. I fall to my knees where I know the ice thins and crawl toward the hole. My heart is beating so hard it might beat right out of my chest. The only thing I can think is, for fuck's sake, please be alive. I'm inches from where the ice has splintered when the water begins to ripple and her head emerges, her terrified eyes locking with mine before her head submerges again. She's panicking. I'm fucking panicking as I reach my arm into the water, feeling for any part of her that I can latch onto. Nothing. I'm trying to keep my weight even, off my front, all the shit I'm supposed to do as I throw the ring into the water, hoping that somehow she can find it. Going in after her isn't the smartest decision. My body could go into shock too, but it's the only one I have right now, so not being weighed down by clothes is the best way for me to survive this, for us both to survive this. My jacket is off when the rope of the life ring starts to move beside me. I roll over, careful not to crack the ice beneath me, and gasp when I see her tiny hand clinging to the edge of the ring, skin blue against the bright orange surface. Her other hand joins it, and I see the crown of her head, so I pull the rope and watch her travel to the edge. Stas, are you okay? Can you say something? You need to hold on. I'm going to pull you out, I tell her frantically, voice wobbling with every syllable. Nothing. I shuffle backward, edging myself closer to safer ground, ignoring the sting of the cold through my clothes, pulling the rope tightly until I feel the resistance of her body against the edge. I'm panting, swearing, close to tears, but I keep tugging and finally, her body begins to slide across the ice. I keep going until I see her skates, and I know her whole body is out. When we're far enough away from the danger, I stand and rip the ring off her, rolling her onto her back. Her lips are blue, delicate features deathly pale, with her eyes closed tight. "Anastasia?" I cry, pressing my ear to her to listen for a murmur, a breath, anything. She isn't breathing. My body starts moving on its own, tilting her chin up and pinching her nose, lowering my mouth to hers and blowing until her chest rises. I tug at the zip of her jacket, but it's frozen, so I pull until it splits apart, placing my linked hands on her sternum, pressing down rhythmically until it's time to blow again. Her chest rises and falls, but then it rises again, and she begins to splutter, coughing and retching, choking out all the water. "Oh my God, I thought I'd lost you," I whisper, scooping her up in my arms. Her eyes close again, but she's breathing on her own, which gives me enough time to cover her in the coat I'd pulled off earlier and run toward the house. Taking 2 stairs at a time, I speed toward the bathroom, wanting more than anything to stop her violently shivering in my arms. She still hasn't said anything. I have no choice but to place her on the bath edge to pull off her skates. Ensuring she's stable, I turn toward the shower to turn it on at the right temperature. "Nate," she whispers, lips a slightly more human shade compared to the blue. "I'm here," I try to reassure her, desperately trying to keep the emotion from my voice. I usher her under the warm water, focusing on the center of her body, wincing when she hisses and begins to cry. "I know it stings. I'm so sorry, baby." The shower is only on a mildly warm setting, but to her it'll be like standing under a boiled kettle. Stripping off her coat and sweatshirt, I wish more than anything that we could go back in time to yesterday, when undressing her was fun and filled with laughter. She lifts her arms slowly, allowing me to rid her of underlayers. You're doing so good, Stas. So good. I'm so fucking proud of you. It's going to be okay. We will get you warmed up and I'll get you a doctor. You're okay. I upped the temperature a little and crouched to pull off her pants and socks until she's naked under the spray, her skin still freezing cold under my hands. The adrenaline is subsiding, the reality of what happened kicking in as she stands before me sobbing, holding onto her body. I shed my own clothes until I'm naked too, and step toward her, pulling her body to mine, cranking the temperature up a bit more, trying to soothe her as she cries. Her head tilts up and her eyes meet mine properly for the first time. They're swimming in tears, but the terror from earlier is gone, replaced with confusion. I thought I was going to die. I can't stop my own eyes from streaming, because I thought she was going to die too. I press my lips against hers gently, letting my forehead rest against the crown of her head when we break apart. I promised you I'd never drop you or let you down, Anastasia. I will always be there to save you. Her arms tighten around my waist and her breath hitches as I turn the shower up a little more. The color is returning to her cheeks and the tears are slowing down. She gnaws on her lip as I wipe beneath her eyes. I love you, Nathan. She clears her throat a few times, trying to clear the raw, gravelly sound. And this isn't some, trauma response. I'm in love with you, and that's what I thought when I fell through that ice. How I've known for so long, and I hadn't even told you. How I was going to die, and you weren't going to know, and I was so mad at myself. I love you, and I'm sorry I didn't tell you when I realized. 3 times she said it, and my brain still hasn't processed it. I love you too, I finally managed to stammer out. I'm so fucking in love with you, Anastasia. I wake from my nightmare with a jump, frantically looking around me. Stasi is fast asleep, hooked up to multiple machines that tell me she's okay, not dead like she was in my dream. Vale Health Hospital is not where I was expecting to wake up on Christmas morning, but I wasn't expecting my girlfriend to drown either, so I'll let the impromptu trip to the ER slide. As soon as she stopped shivering, I redressed her with as many layers as her fragile body could support and bundled her into the car to take her to the hospital. I was expecting to be yelled at for not ringing an ambulance, which is what I should have done, but I imagine they took one look at my stressed face and thought better of it. The doctor commended me for safely bringing her body temperature back up and gave her the all clear after checking her over. She heard all clear and thought it was time to go home, not realizing that neither the medical staff nor I was letting her go anywhere. I haven't left her side since yesterday. I even resorted to waving my card around until the hospital upgraded her and provided me with a bed for her room so I didn't need to leave. The bed is still perfectly made because as soon as we were alone, I climbed in beside Stas. I pretended to be asleep when the nurse came in to check her vitals so she wouldn't make me get out. "Merry Christmas," Stasi whispers. "Good morning, baby," I say, kissing her temple. "How are you feeling?" "Like I don't need to be attached to a fluid drip and I'd rather be at home with you in our onesies?" Her fingers dig into my sides playfully. "I feel good, Nathan, I promise. It's Christmas. Can we please get out of here?" "Not until you've been looked over." "I've been looked over. I'm a picture of health. Let's go." My eyes flit to the fluid line sticking out of her hand. "Oh yeah, you look it." "At least I'm not dead." She giggles at my shocked face. "Too soon?" "It's always going to be too soon."
39. Anastasia. The past week has been the epitome of calm after the storm. After my Christmas morning debate with Nate about my health status, he threaded his fingers through mine and brought the back of my hand to his lips.
Shut up, Anastasia. Let me take care of you, please.
The hospital bed wasn't as comfortable as Nathan's huge heated one, and the poking and prodding weren't the types I'm used to. Everyone was very nice to me, not once judging me for the senseless decision I made to venture out onto unsafe ground alone. I was physically and mentally exhausted, but in good spirits under the circumstances. He practically forced the doctor to look over me one more time while the nurse removed my fluid line. Protective, isn't he? The nurse chuckled. Very. I nodded in agreement. It's because he cares, though, so I don't mind. Ah, young love. Even after the most traumatizing day and a night of shitty sleep, when he looked over from the desk where he was collecting my discharge papers, his smile made my entire body hum happily. The drive back to the house was quiet, George Michael on the radio, and Nate tapping along to the tune on my thigh. He looked over at me as we pulled up at a stoplight.
"What are you smiling about?"
"Do you remember singing this drunk in the shower?" I said, thinking back to Nathan's screeching last Christmas at the top of his lungs 2 weeks before.
"Hey."
He squeezes my thigh.
"As soon as the night is over, you have to forget about drunk shenanigans. Those are the rules, Alan."
He snuck a look over at me again, grinning wide.
"I love you."
I placed my hand over the one warming my thigh. "I love you too." We arrived back at the house late morning, both too tired to make an effort for Christmas, and that turned into the theme of the week. The relief of being back in Nate's bed didn't last as long as I'd hoped, and the reality of the seriousness of what happened started to hit me. Calling my parents from Nate's phone was the starting point. I realized my phone was at the bottom of the lake, and they'd be trying to get hold of me to wish me Merry Christmas. Mom and Dad freaked the hell out, and I had to talk them out of flying here by convincing them I was fine. The nightmares are intense, but when I wake up in a pool of sweat, terrified, Nathan is always there to lull me back to sleep. If hockey doesn't work out for him, he'd make a great nurse. Each day, he's taken me to the resort spa, booking me for treatment after treatment, making sure that there isn't an inch of me that isn't relaxed. Even now, a week later, every fire in the house is burning because he's worried I'm going to get sick. The benefit of that is he's already a human radiator, so the addition of the fire means he's had to strip down to his boxers to stay cool. I'm enjoying the view, and being obsessed with watching Nate stroll about is helping me feel more like myself.
"Stop looking at my ass,"
he shouts from inside the fridge. His head is practically resting on the shelf, and he's pretending that he's searching for something to eat, but in reality, I think he's trying to cool down. He didn't think it through when he decided to turn this house into the inside of an oven, but he wouldn't listen to me when I said I'm fine, meaning it this time. "The lake is pretty cold if you want to cool off," I shout back at him. The fridge door stamps shut and he spins to face me, looking annoyed. His annoyed face is so cute. Is he supposed to be scary with his pouty lips and furrowed brow? If this is what he does during a game, he's not going to be putting the fear in anyone.
Not funny.
Stomping through the archway between the kitchen and living room, he throws himself down beside me on the couch. I crawl into his lap, brushing his hair back and planting a kiss lightly on his forehead. "Hey, Grumpy. It's over, okay? I'm safe. You saved me, and I'm perfectly healthy. I'm roasting alive in this heat, but I'm good."
"You promise?"
"I promise." "Do you want to open the Christmas presents? We probably should before the year is over." Neither of us has been feeling particularly festive, so all our gifts are still in the suitcase.
"I thought you gave me my present already."
Rolling my eyes, I climb off him. Coming inside of me is not a freaking Christmas present, Nathan.
"It makes me feel jolly when I do it."
He narrowly avoids the cushion I pick up and throw in his direction, muttering something about me not making the dodgeball team. With my hands on my hips, I huff, "Will you just get the present suitcase, please? I need to do something upstairs." I ignore the strange look he's giving me and run toward the stairs, sprinting up each step until I'm pushing his bedroom door open and rummaging through his wardrobe for the bag I hid when we got here. I do what I need to do, pull on a robe, and rush back downstairs. He unpacked all the presents and put them into piles, now patiently waiting by his pile with his legs crossed. "You ready?" We work in unison, ripping apart the rest of the presents, drowning in a pile of gifts from our loved ones until all that's left is the ones we bought for each other. "I didn't buy you a lot," I preface, handing over the bag of gifts. Start with that one with the blue ribbon, but, yeah. You're super hard to buy for. Has anyone ever told you that? He hands me an identical bag and leans over the pile of torn wrapping paper, pressing a kiss to my lips lightly.
You are my greatest gift, Anastasia.
I tear into the first present and find 2 pairs of the prettiest pajamas I've ever seen.
You said you wanted something to wear around the house, and I couldn't choose.
I love them, Nathan. Thank you, I say, running my fingers across the satin. Your turn. He pulls the paper apart until the leggings fall into his lap. He holds up the leopard and zebra print and raises an eyebrow. I also couldn't choose. We go back and forth, unwrapping and laughing, until he puts his hands behind his back.
I forgot about this, so I haven't had time to wrap it. So close your eyes and hold out both hands.
If it's your dick, Nate.
Shut up and do it, please,
he grumbles, rustling around. I follow his instruction, holding out both hands as he places something heavy on my palms.
Okay, open your eyes.
My eyes widen immediately as I stare down at the iPad box. He's nervously nibbling on the corner of his thumb, his knee bobbing, staring at me expectantly. I don't know what to say, so I stare at it.
Are you mad?
Shaking my head quickly, my voice breaks as I speak. No.
Do you like it? It's so you always have it for therapy, and there's this cool app I'm going to download for you. It's a digital planner, and you can do school notes and...
Nate, I love it. I'm just shocked at how generous you are. I don't know what to say. Thank you so much. He bought me a freaking iPad so I'd always be able to speak to my therapist. How is he real? Seriously, thank you.
You're welcome, baby. I'm so fucking relieved you like it,
he admits, blowing out a sigh of relief.
Okay, the last gift. Let's go.
For the last time, I watch him tear off the wrapping paper and pull off the lid to the gift box. His mouth pulls into a straight line, and he looks at me inquisitively.
It's empty?
I move onto my knees and slowly untie the robe I'm wearing until it falls off my shoulders and pools on the floor behind me. I kind of cheated. It's sort of more of a gift from me, but I thought you'd like it. The Titans jersey is a little big on me, but only enough to cover the tops of my thighs. His eyes are practically black as they rake up and down me. I haven't even shown you the best bit. Shuffling until my back is facing him, I pull my hair over my shoulder.
Hawkins,
he says, with a softness in his voice I haven't heard before.
You have my name on your jersey.
I lean forward so the jersey rides up my ass, just revealing enough to prompt him into action.
You look so fucking good, Anastasia. Jesus.
After a week of being treated like I'm made of glass, feeling his body push up against mine is a very welcome change. His mouth runs up the side of my neck as his hand slips beneath the hem.
I want to fuck you with this on, okay?
Yes, Captain. His hand palms my ass and the excitement floods me. I have an idea. Can you lie down on a kitchen island?
40. Nathan. When Anastasia posted a motivational picture this morning saying, "The day is only as good as you make it," I thought it was going to be another example of my grumpy girl catfishing the internet with her pretend positivity. But apparently New Year's Eve makes her happy, and now I'm lying naked on the kitchen island, and my hands are tied above my head with a Christmas present ribbon. To be totally honest, I'm not sure how I ended up in this position. My girlfriend is a creative visionary, she claims, so when she told me to drop my boxers and lie on the counter, I did it with zero hesitation. What can I say? I'm a weak man. I doubt there's a guy out there who would have stopped to question what was happening if their girl was wearing their jersey with no panties on. I'm basically putty in her very talented but very bossy hands. I can hear her rummaging in the refrigerator. "Stassi, what are you doing?" Patience is a virtue, Hawkins, she chirps, clanging what sound like jars against each other. I'm not feeling very virtuous right now, Anastasia, I gruff, tugging against the ribbon. Quite the opposite. Her feet patter softly against the tiles. Placing whatever she's selected beside me out of my view, she climbs up onto the counter, then on top of me, straddling my hips. She hasn't even done anything and I'm hard, resting against the warmth of the apex of her thighs. Wiggling against it, she moans quietly, eyes fucking sparkling as she looks down at me. Her eyes rake down my body. You're so fucking hot. Stassi calls me beautiful all the time, even when I've just woken up. At first, I was a bit taken aback. I'm not sure what it was in the beginning. I sort of had it ingrained in my head I was supposed to be the one complimenting her, and trust me, I do. But it turns out I like hearing it. It's not just beautiful. She calls me kind and smart, among so many other things. Hearing her ramble about how much she likes me for me, how special I am to her, is beyond what I ever thought I should expect in a relationship. But hearing her call me hot while she's got me tied up and my hard dick rubbing between her legs is a whole other level of I fucking love my girlfriend. Reaching out of my line of sight, I hear the signature sound of a lid pop. The excitement is practically buzzing in my blood when I spot the can of whipped cream in her hand. Bringing the nozzle to her mouth, her eyes roll back and she squirts it onto her tongue. Mm-hmm. My hips flex forward, nudging against her wetness. Her mouth lowers to mine, the sweet residue of the cream on her tongue. She sits back up, hand reaching back for the cream, immediately squirting it along the indent of my abs. Before I can even complain about how cold it is, her mouth descends and she licks her way up my body, smirking up at me when she feels my dick twitch. Her hips move back and forth, sliding me between her folds. My hands strain against the ribbon and my body wiggles underneath her impatiently. I need to be inside of you. She tisks and picks up a new jar. Not until you beg me, Hawkins. As I'm about to snip back, the alarm rings, telling me the front door was opened. Nate, Sasha shouts, her voice ringing out loudly across the house. Anastasia's eyes widen, all the blood draining from her face instantly. What the fuck? Tugging at my hands until they're free, the pair of us scramble off to the floor and I put my boxers back on. Wait a minute, Sash, I shout, moving Stassi in front of me. The kitchen door flies open and Sasha looks between us frantically. Ew, she squeals. Were you two? Yuck, Nate, I cook in here. Oh my god. Her nose scrunches, face twisting in disgust. With her head turned away, she shivers. You must be Stassi. I'd hug you, but I think it'd be awkward for everyone. Stas shuffles nervously, head hung low so her long hair hides her pink cheeks, but she nods and holds up a hand to wave. This is not how I wanted the two most important women in my life to meet each other for the first time. What the fuck are you doing here, Sasha? You're supposed to be in St. Bart's. I've been calling and texting you, jackass. You didn't answer, she huffs, folding her arms across her chest, still looking away. Do you want me to bore you with the details of our father's latest betrayal, or would you prefer to let your girlfriend put on some pants, before Dad brings the bags in from the car? Betrayal? Gimme 5. We'll be right back, I promise, nudging a mortified Anastasia toward the staircase that isn't going to walk her straight into my dad's line of sight. You're so rich you have 2 staircases. I'll humble myself for you and buy us a house with only 1 set of stairs. Will that make you happy? I tease, squeezing her ass when it bounces in front of my face as we climb the stairs. I'm so sorry about this, baby. I can't remember the last time I looked at my phone. We reach my room, and she immediately finds her panties and a pair of jeans, tying her hair back up into a ponytail. I approach her from behind, wrapping my arms around her waist and burying my head into her neck, inhaling the smell of honey and strawberry I love. She sighs and sinks back into my chest, tilting her face up to kiss me. Your dad is going to hate me, isn't he? I can feel the anxiety rolling off her. It's written all over her face. It's in her posture, in the desperation of her kiss. Anastasia, listen to me. You do not need to worry about the opinion of that man. I love you, and I will be counting the minutes until I get to get you away from him. So that's a yes then, she says, shaking off my embrace. She waits on the bed and watches me get changed into jeans and a sweater. I hate that he's here, that he managed to burst our bubble. We're going back to Maple Hills tomorrow evening, and we were so close to having a perfect week. No drownings, no fighting, and no parent. You changing? I ask, eyeing her jersey. Your dad ever watch one of your games? She nods knowingly when I shake my head. Then no, I'm not changing. Okay, let's get this over with. And Nate, I love you too. Sasha is snacking away on chips with Criminal Minds blasting from the TV when we return downstairs, entering the living room hand in hand. He went to the resort, she says, not looking away from her show. He wants us to meet him for lunch in an hour. Great. Anastasia, this is Sasha, my baby sister, I say, trying to make this less weird. Sash, this is my girlfriend Stassi. I finally steal her attention from the TV, but I instantly regret it when she raises a perfectly sculpted eyebrow. Why are you acting like we haven't met? I caught you two doing it in the kitchen like 10 minutes ago. Jesus, Sasha, I whine, raking a hand through my hair. That's not what was happening. Can you be nice? Tell that to the can of whipped cream, Nutella, and strawberry sundae sauce on the counter, she says with a snort. As soon as she rhymes off the contents on the counter, I'm instantly more irritated, realizing what just got interrupted. And I am being nice. Be glad it was me and not Dad. She turns her head to Stassi. I am nice, I promise. I'm not judging you. Well, other than for dating my awful brother. I throw myself on the couch across from Sasha, and Anastasia awkwardly hovers on the spot. I pat the seat next to me until she sits, but her temperament is off. She seems uncomfortable. I fucking hate that she seems uncomfortable after how good our time here has been. Why are you back? I thought you weren't back until the day after tomorrow. It's the whole reason our flights are tomorrow. Charming, she grunts, turning down the volume of the TV and crossing her legs over. It wasn't a vacation. It was a retreat for body conditioning to make me stronger, and I don't know, some bullshit about being a better athlete. I spent a total of 1 hour on the beach. Yesterday I told him if he didn't take me home, I'd never ski again, so he booked us on the next flight out of there. I wish I could pretend to be surprised for her sake, but I'm not. In fact, this is exactly the type of shit I would have guessed if I hadn't been so preoccupied lately. But I foolishly believed he might have listened to my suggestion. My father always has an agenda. This afternoon is another plot, because why else would you meet someone for the first time in a public place when they're already in your home? What type of mood is he in? His usual, like someone stuck a very big stick up his ass and he can't get rid of it. She gives Stassi an almost menacing smile. You have any experience with overbearing parents? She laughs for the first time since Sasha arrived home. My parents are super nice. Sorry. Sasha sits and quizzes Stas about every single thing in her life, and to her credit, Stas answers everything honestly. By the time we're pulling up to the resort, the pair of them are the best of friends. It helps they have a common interest. Now, you'd think the common interest would be being sporting prodigies, but no, it's grinding my gears for fun. I don't get to see Sasha enough without Dad, and I miss her so much. I miss the person she is when he's not around. I almost feel sad for Anastasia that the person she just made as a friend is about to disappear the second Dad sits at the table. I hope she understands and she can tell it isn't personal. You good? I ask Anastasia quietly, looking at our joined hands where she's cutting off the circulation to the tips of my fingers. The maitre d' walks us over to Dad's favorite table and offers us the menus. Unsurprisingly, he's late for a lunch he organized. I'll have a glass of Dom Perignon, please, Sasha says, browsing the menu casually. The guy looks at me panicked, clearly knowing who we are and not sure what the right answer is. I put him out of his misery, plucking the menu from Sasha's hands and bopping around the head with it. She's 16. Give her a juice box or something. She'll have a water, a deep and familiar voice says from behind me. Hello, Nathaniel, he says coolly. And who do we have here?
41. Anastasia. What's my name? Why can't I remember what my fucking name is? Ian Hawkins is standing beside me, looking like Darth freaking Vader, with his hand outstretched, ready to meet me for the first time, and I cannot remember what my goddamn name is. Nate's hand squeezes my knee. It should be a comfort, but it's reminding me that I'm not speaking when I should be.
This is Anastasia Allen, my girlfriend. Stas, this is my dad, Ian Hawkins,
Nate says calmly, moving his hand to thread it through mine. Nate's dad looks like how I imagine Nate is going to look in 30 years. He's tall, sharp-jawed, with dark brown hair and big brown eyes. If he wasn't my new nemesis, I might even admit that he's very handsome. But fuck that. Mr. Hawkins, it's nice to finally meet you. I managed to force out through the world's fakest smile, shaking his hand like we're politicians or something. He takes his seat directly in front of me, and I can't wait to spend this lunch making awkward eye contact with him. Although, right now, he's more bothered about Sasha's outfit.
You didn't want to get changed out of your plain clothes?
You can't tell that he's traveled for 15 hours. His clothes are immaculate, hair perfectly in place. But with that one sentence, that one sneer in his teenage daughter's direction, I know everything I need to know about Ian Hawkins. Her posture changes. She withdraws. Her chin lowers. I can't watch this. You look comfortable, Sasha. I wish I'd put my sweatpants on too, I say as cheerfully as I can. It's enough to capture his attention again. His eyes meet mine, and I don't look away, as much as I might want to. I feel like I just invited him in. His criticisms, his judgment. I can see him sizing me up. It's clear in the way his eyes break from mine to scan my face, lowering to look at what I'm wearing. His mouth creeps up.
Tell me about yourself, Anastasia.
What would you like to know, Mr. Hawkins?
Ian is fine. There's no need for formality. Judging by the way my son is cutting off the circulation to your fingers, I would speculate that he's quite attached to you, he says with a humorless chuckle. How about we start with where you're from?
Seattle, Washington, originally. I've lived in Maple Hills for school for the last few years. The drinks appear at the table, staff working efficiently and silently in the presence of their boss. Nate doesn't look away from his dad, scared to take his eyes off him, I think, but mutters a,
"Thank you,"
reaching for his Sprite with the hand that isn't crushing mine. You're welcome, Nate, a sickly sweet voice says. We both look up at the same time, finding a beautiful blonde woman placing a vase of water in front of Ian. If I had to guess, I'd say she was our age. Pretty green eyes and a dazzling smile. She's looking at him with a familiarity, a something that makes my skin itch. An uncomfortable feeling settles in my stomach, and it whips my breath away when I realize that the feeling is jealousy. I didn't know you were in town, she continues, completely ignoring my existence. You should have said. His fingers loosen and my heart sinks as he lets go of my hand, but instead he reaches toward me and tucks hair behind my ear, hand settling on the back of my chair with his finger tickling my shoulder.
You asked for no ice, didn't you?
He asks, nodding toward the drink someone put down in front of me. I focus on the ice cubes floating and the condensation running down the side of the glass, instead of the woman Nathan has clearly had sex with at some point. I need to stop. This is unnecessary. I don't feel like this when we're back in Maple Hills. Who he's had in his bed doesn't bother me there. But here, in front of his dad and sister, I feel the poker-hot envy creeping through my body. What? Yeah. It doesn't matter, though. He picks up the drink and offers it to the girl.
She didn't want ice.
His tone is sharp, far sharper than I've ever heard him be, and it feels weird to see him be so curt. The girl looks taken aback as she accepts the glass from his hand, still not looking at me, but managing to look at Sasha, who's trying to hide her laugh behind her hand. Too much time passes without anyone talking.
That's all, Ashley,
Ian drawls, bored of this weird little situation going on.
Get Anastasia an iceless drink as she requested, and let Mark know we're ready to order food.
His harsh tone snaps her out of her daydream. Yes, sir.
And Ashley?
Yes, Mr. Hawkins? She responds quickly, spinning back around to face him.
Anastasia is part of this family and a guest. I'm going to pretend that you gave her the courtesy of actually looking at her and apologizing for the mistake, as you would with any other customer. Don't let it happen again, or you'll find yourself starting the new year looking for a new job.
It's taking every muscle in my head to keep my jaw from hitting the floor. Nathan shuffles in his seat, reclaiming my hand with his. Ian pours himself a glass of water and takes a sip.
Where were we? School. What do you study?
I tell him how I'm a junior studying business management, how I'm an only child, how I'm already 21 because I started school a year later after my adoption when I was 5, and to his credit, he nods in the right places and asks follow-up questions. My new drink arrives. Nate and Sasha sit quietly, probably grateful the attention isn't on them. I get a small moment of reprieve when our food orders are taken. Nate leans in, pressing his lips to my temple.
What are you getting?
He lowers his voice to a whisper.
I'm so proud of you, baby. You're doing so well.
I don't get a chance to answer him because Sasha tries to order a chicken burger and fries, and her dad says no.
She'll have the chicken and cashew salad, dressing on the side.
But Dad, I want—
No, Sasha.
I hate this, and every critical thought I've ever had about my parents weighs on me, crushing me with guilt because my parents have never made me feel as shit as I do just watching him interact with Sasha. The words come spilling out of my mouth before I can stop them. The world isn't going to end if she eats a burger. For the first time since we sat here, I see a flicker of emotion on his permanently indifferent face. His eyebrow creeps up and his lips purse, and suddenly, he looks nothing like Nathan. He doesn't have Nathan's soft eyes, or the cheeky grin that accompanies his eyebrow when it rises in surprise.
Not that it's anything to do with you, but Sasha has a competition coming up. She needs to stick to her meal plan.
So do I, but one burger isn't going to derail her career. If she wants a burger, she should get one. I'm getting the burger, I snap back. I don't know why I'm doing this. Why I'm purposely riling up a man I want to like me, even if I don't like him. I can't help it. I want to protect her from all the thoughts that will plague her when it comes to eating long after he stops choosing her meals. I don't even want the freaking burger. I was going to order the salad. Nate's hand squeezes my knee, a sign of alliance.
Can we get 3 chicken burgers, please, Mark? No salad needed.
Mark looks to Ian, who places his menu back on the table and gives a small nod of approval. When Mark heads back toward the kitchen, loudly blowing out a sigh of relief, I immediately feel the weight of what I just did. Sasha is looking at her drink, teeth nibbling the skin at the side of her thumb.
I don't appreciate your insolence in front of my staff,
Ian says flatly.
Dad,
Nathan interjects.
I'm talking to both of you, he gruffs. You might have enjoyed your time here pretending to be in charge, but while you're eating in my restaurant and sleeping under my roof, you'll show me some respect.
Nate's body stiffens, and I feel the tension brewing, but before it can progress, Sasha speaks. You're a figure skater, right? That's your sport, Stassi? And that's enough to capture Ian's attention, so we start the dance all over again. Nathan's bedroom feels like the only safe place in the house right now. Lunch could have been worse, I suppose, but it definitely could have been better. Nathan thinks it went well, which to me is weird and makes me seriously consider how bad things can get if this is an example of things being good. Tonight, there is a huge New Year's Eve party being thrown by Nate's dad, which the resort does every year for the guests who spend the holidays there, and our presence is expected. As Nate snoozes against my stomach, I can't help my mind wandering to Mila Hawkins, Nate and Sasha's mom. How wonderful must she have been to produce kids like them with a husband like that? I remember weeks and weeks ago, Before I realized how I had absolutely no chance to do anything but fall head over heels in love with this man, he told me he's the way his mom raised him. All in, with his whole heart and head. Nate says she would have loved me. Lola, too, because she loved a strong-headed and determined woman. That's how she was raising Sasha before she passed away. I can see the flickers of it in her when her dad isn't around, and I wish there were a way I could take Sash back to LA with us.
Your thoughts are very loud sometimes,
Nate grumbles from his spot on my stomach. He looks up, eyes sleepy and cheeks pink.
What are you thinking about?
The party? I lie.
We're not going. It's pretentious and you'll hate it,
he says, peppering kisses around my belly button.
This room has the best view of the fireworks anyway.
Your girlfriend will probably spit in my drink, too. He sighs heavily, resting his head against my skin before looking back up at me with a sad expression.
I wish there wasn't anyone before you, but I can't change the past. I can promise you there will be no one after you. She was never my girlfriend, though. We were kids. We went to high school together, hooked up sometimes when I came home for the holidays.
I'm kidding, I swear. I'm sorry. I don't know why I feel jealous. I swear I don't feel like this normally, and I don't care what you did before me. I promise I don't. I don't even think it's about sex. I think it's because she fits into the version of you that exists here. The one who wears snow boots and plays hockey on the lake in his backyard. You're so relaxed here, and I caused the most stressful situation ever, and I just—
Anastasia,
he says softly, interrupting my rambling.
I'm relaxed because you're here. This is the first time in years I've enjoyed being here, and that's solely because you are here with me. There isn't a version of me that is better without you by my side.
I was thinking about your parents, I admit reluctantly. How good your mom must have been for you to be the way you are. He wiggles up my body until we're face to face and nuzzles my nose with his.
She was the best. I'm nothing like him, Stas. I swear I'll be so good to you. You'll never have to worry.
The seriousness in his face pulls at my heart, and the idea that Nathan could ever be put in the same league as his dad is absurd. I know, Nate. I promise you that I know, and I don't doubt you for even a second. I'm very lucky, and I don't take that for granted. His mouth meets mine, soft at first, then more intense, more urgent, as I sink my fingers into his hair and let him nestle his body between my legs. Love is pouring out of him, every touch soft and caring, every look and motion specifically designed for me, for us. And when he sinks into me, making me writhe beneath him, he whispers how much he loves me into my ear, how perfect I am for him, how he's the lucky one. I lose count of how many times my body squeezes tight around his, how many times I bury my face into his chest, his neck, his pillow, how many times I have to stop myself from screaming his name. His fingers are deep in the flesh of my hips, guiding me as he buries himself so deep inside of me I can feel him in my bones. His chest heaves, stomach flexes, pulse hammers against my lips on his throat, and when he spills himself into me, he clings to me so tight that I'm not sure how we're ever expected to be two separate people ever again.